stabilize inner city population. Bad legislation led to prison privatization. Economic incentive for mass incarceration. How prison became the new slave plantation. Look, we just trying to get gropped up. Akon bro, I got locked up. Machiavelli Tupac'd up. Who shot ya? You stopped us. Prison industrial complex. Why these cops got a monthly quota? Now I'm under arrest. Look, 13th Amendment, slavery is still legal. Left a loophole in it to exploit convicted people. It's cheap labor, we do data. Don't believe you haters. X-ray vision, I see through layers. Look, fact check, false imprisonment, cut a black check for all your profiteering off of Africans and Aztecs. Now being homeless a crime, it's a dirty trick. Vote yes on Prop 6 and no on 36.
What up, y'all? It's your girl, Ryan Nicole, here with you at Hip Hop for Change Studios for the second session of Servitude Sessions. Listen, we are here encouraging you to vote in general. Make sure you get to the polls. I know you're registered, and I know you're going to exercise that democracy. But most importantly, we are here to encourage you to vote yes on Prop 6. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that is, but I just want you to know, even here in California, slavery is still legal. Ain't that crazy? A lot of folks think slavery didn't happen here. It doesn't happen here, but it does if you are involved in the carceral system. I got my co-host with me right here, Alyssa, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Alyssa is an activist, an advocate, as am I, and somebody who is impacted by the carceral system. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, about why Prop 6 is important to you, how this impacts you, and what you're doing about it.
So my name is Alyssa Moore. I'm with Legal Services for Prisoners with Children today. I'm the reentry coordinator for Northern California. And my main goal, and the reason why I'm so passionate about Prop 6, is that I served 25 years on the inside. I was incarcerated as a youth. And what that looks like for how it relates to Prop 6. When I went to prison, I immediately was processed like cattle. They put you through a physical, which is not, you know, about anything to do with your health. It's more to check for your physical fitness and see what kind of slave labor your body can endure, right? And so it's part of the classification process is what they call it. But it's akin to Nazi war camp when people were being brought in on cattle trucks. And, you know, so it's the same thing. And essentially, I was so young, I didn't understand what was happening. Obviously, there was a lot of different things happening at that time. Just checking in with, you know, receiving a 15 to life sentence and what that might look to a child at the age of 17. You know, our prefrontal cortex, which governs decision making, isn't even fully developed. That's right. So I couldn't even understand what was happening. But my first job that they gave me was hair care. And they give you like hot tools, what they're considered hot tools. They'll lock the prison down if any of these tools come up missing. I was heavily medicated. I had just came from, you know, an extensive, you know, case and going to court. So at the time, I really shouldn't have been issued any type of sharp tool, you know, much less at 17 being, you know, relatively naive, new to the system. Just really a child still. I should not have been given those tools and then expect to be accountable for them, or the whole prison could be locked down, right? Exactly. So, and then plus they told me I was hair care, right? I was supposed to go around and cut people's hair on a level 4, and I have no experience in this, but you know, I'm young and full of myself, and so of course I cut hair. What do you mean? Okay. I'm hair care. Okay. And ultimately, that, you know, put me in a few different situations. I can imagine. Because not only do you have to keep track of these tools, but you have to make sure that nobody can take them from you. Yeah, that's a lot. And so it put me like in this trajectory like of fight or flight, where I remain to this day. And over time in prison, like violence ultimately ended me in jail repeatedly. And what a sentence of 15 to life, I could have been home in 12 years and 9 months. But I ended up doing over 25 years, so altogether. And that is, you know, just clear picture of like the way it can affect youth today.
Right.
Because it's still an open practice.
Right.
And youth are coming into the prison every day.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately today, as a taxpayer, I want people to be able to access rehabilitative programs that I wasn't able to. I want everybody that I left behind in prison to be able to come home and be a part of society where they're able to contribute.
I agree. It's really important, I think, the distinction that you draw here between involuntary servitude, because you didn't have a choice. You weren't able to access rehabilitative services because you were forced to work.
Yeah.
And that's important for the standard voter who may not have, you know, interfacing with the carceral system to know that this isn't a choice for anybody going in. They can't say, hey, I need to take some time to do these rehabilitative services so I can come out and not recidivate. They just give you the job, and then that takes up all of your time.
Yeah, and like I said, for youth, it could be even more so traumatizing because like it had put me on a trajectory that I could not be removed from after, you know, coming into the system new, young, with, like I said, all of those precursors, and then adding to it, being put in this perpetual state of fight or flight.
Yeah. A heavy responsibility. We're going to come back and talk more about this. Right now, I want to make sure that we do this conversation over some beats and rhythm, because we know that culture moves the needle more than anything. So we're going to rock in a minute. See you in a sec. What up, Jay Smacka? How you feeling today?
Feeling good, feeling good.
Feeling good? Listen, I want you to tell us a little bit as an MC, as a lyricist, and all of that. Tell me about your connection to Prop 6.
My connection with Prop 6 stems from my personal experience being in the prison system and being a product of the slave labor in there.
I know that's right. So you gonna lay some bars for us?
Definitely.
All right, tell us about it, man.
Hello.
What up, boy? Work slave, ain't no days off, not even birthdays or death in the family. You gon' work, hey, what's your worth, slave? Loophole in the Constitution, they gon' find ways. 10 years of blood, sweat, and labor, I guess crime pays. I was 16 walking that gun line, report the chain gang, you know the drill if you done time. Plantation, state prison, work or they gon' take visits. People injured on the job, this work ain't really safe, is it? You gotta have a sense of self or you gon' struggle with it. They don't feel your pain when your name is just a couple digits. Standing for the people that I left behind, changing up the story, man, they history was never mine. Work slave, ain't no days off, not even birthdays or deaths in the family. You gon' work, hey, what's your worth, slave? Loophole in the Constitution, they gon' find ways. 10 years of blood, sweat, and labor, I guess crime pays. You can't rehabilitate yourself, you getting punished for it. Heal from the past, or it's gonna be hard to keep pushing forward. I mean, the system was designed for it to feed itself. They see the flaws but turn blind when we needed help. I made mistakes but work hard to be a better me. Angela Davis talked about this in the 70s. The first prisons was plantations and reservations. I say rehabilitation over exploitation. Work slave, ain't no days off, not even birthdays or death in the family. You gon' work, what's your worth, slave? Loophole in the Constitution, they gon' find ways. 10 years of blood, sweat, and labor, I guess crime pays. What up, boy? Good.
Dang, John. Work slave.
Right there.
Okay, so that felt real personal. Like, I felt your heart. I felt the passion on that. Tell me where that passion comes from.
It really came from my personal experience. Like, just, you know, working in there, it's that feeling you get. You know, a lot of people say it's not slavery because it's in prison, but when you up under that, if you know it's slavery, it's that feeling. You know, you're forced to do it. So
no birthdays, no visiting family. Tell me about that.
Yeah, like birthday, you don't get birthdays off. Like, you forced to work. You got to work. The part where I'm saying about deaths in the family, my grandma, she passed away while I was in there, and she was really my only like person I was contacted with on the streets. So, and then even when she passed away, they called me up to the chapel, and that's how I found out. And I still had to go right to work.
They sent you straight to work after that? No time, no space, none of that?
Yeah, right to work, and then end up getting in a fight in the kitchen because I worked in the kitchen. Just lost my grandma, didn't even know how to. You were
in your bag.
Right.
I understand. This is powerful, and I thank you for sharing your testimony. I know it's not easy, you know, but I just really appreciate you using your voice and your story to move the needle forward so that there's freedom for everybody else that's under this system. Right on, bro.
Right on.
Ooh. Amulet, what's good?
It's good.
I like your name.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me what Prop 6 means to you.
Prop 6, what it means to me is to give folks that are incarcerated the option to either work or focus on other factors and determinants of health to truly rehabilitate.
Right on. Now tell me the name of the song you're about to do.
This song is titled Gaslight.
I know what that means. Why don't you put on them headphones and let us know what's up?
Okay.
All right, man.
Broken promises to youth we see at risk. Can we humanize without using labels? Colorism. From the grave to the cradle, ideology, struggle, hustle, and the prelude is the purpose of incarceration. To inundate you, socially erase you. Who is it that you pray to? Force-fed darkness. Is it ever safe to be vulnerable without having a place to direct faith to? Policy making creates laws to discriminate through. Impose regulations to stimulate you, wanting you in isolation. Next they can arraign you quicker than you can remember. You're the center they funneled hate through. Displacement, codified language, anti-dialogical. How will people handle hate speech? How do you interpret misinformation? School to prison nexus, criminalizing innovation. Redlining neighborhoods, underfunding education. Be critical of banking methods and manipulation. Overpaid officials with off-the-book spending. Hold power hostage with our requests pending. Government statutes thrown at you, turn to weapons. It's evident law enforcement is granted with discretion. Mass incarceration, I'm here as just a lesson. Pleading innocence from inner sense of past transgressions. Bittersweet to see reforming institutions that I grew up in as a consequence and not as a resolution. Inequity, resources allocated. All we had were street dreams, no one paid us on probation. The hope that education can abolish incarceration, that's heavily pondered without failures to amazement. Syndicates and litigation, sick and contagious, the pandemic staged this. Modern day slave ship, racism exists, and so does building spaceships. A secular iteration of fault lines in the nation against propaganda, far-fetched from entertainment. Media advocacy for BIPOC representation, linguistic liberties, catapults an anguished soul into a language full of ancient tools. Recreating rules obtained in school, regurgitated information, converted sanctioned fools. I'd be insane to paint the same wave that makes the news to taint the truth. I refuse to reframe layman loops to be subjugated by dominant narratives. It's imperative we protect our youth. Untie this noose, supply the proof to misconceptions. These false impressions undermine the truth. I'm just like you. It's death before dishonor, finding beauty in the struggle, dying beside my roots. Yes, on Prop 6.
Dang, Amulet. Okay. Bars.
Thank you.
Yo, that line starts with mass incarceration. Finish that for me.
Mass incarceration. I'm here as just a lesson, pleading innocence from inner sense of past transgressions.
Yeah, man. Tell me what that line means to you.
It's really me reflecting and being introspective of my experiences in the justice system. From going through my version of true rehabilitation while looking at it in the sense of public health and the social determinants of health.
Yeah. And really, what I felt was you stressing that the carceral system punishes, or focuses on punishing instead of rehabilitating, especially with, issues like involuntary servitude. If you don't have a chance to take advantage of those classes and those services that do rehabilitate you, then it is just going to punish you without any of your input, right? Without any support. Man, that song was bomb.
Thank you.
All the bars, all the language. I didn't know you were going to give it to us like that. I'm so glad you did. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Peace, bro. My good brother, Ras Ceylon. How you doing, man?
I'm blessed, sister. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really well. I'm really well. So tell me about your connection to Prop 6, what it means to you.
Yeah, well, as an advocate for human rights, I'm really glad to see this on the bill right here because legalized slavery should not be happening in any forms in any way whatsoever, you know?
Right.
So, gotta all do our part.
Now, I know you got a verse for us. You always do.
I do.
All right, go get him.
All right, let's get it. Check.
You now in tune and listening to Metal Gift.
Yes, indeed. Live and direct.
get it clear. Yo. What's the fastest growing business in this whole country? It be that private prison industry, and they ain't nothing funny. Money gets generated by the system segregated, racism celebrated. The hatred is blatant. We facing discrimination, criminalization. 2 million locked down with incarceration. All poor, brown, and black, it's war. We under attack, so recognize the fact that slavery ain't back. It really never left. Reread the 13th Amendment. They legalized it as punishment with no pretending, giving mandatory sentences, minimum offenses, non-violent drug offenders in the same cage as killers. Was up in caught slipping, had to spend some time sitting. Never ever considered snitching, gathered evidence to get acquitted. Listen, the mission is to stay about the system, way about the system. Free them all, you know the business, it's time. Yeah, it's time for a shift. November 5th, vote yes on Prop 6, cause it's time to end legal slavery. Too many people living in cages, G, yo, it's time to free Mumia Abu Jamal. What's the call? You know what it is, free them all. Leonard Peltier, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, liberate our elders by any means. Yo, it's time. Let's go.
Ras, man, come out the headphones. All right, I got a couple questions for you. That was fire, first of all. Yes. Talk to me a little bit about the connection between Prop 6 and the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, it's deep. You know, as a history teacher myself, I always point that out. The slavery never really ended. You know what I mean? They put that clause in there in the 13th Amendment. It was supposed to be the end of slavery after the Civil War and all that, but that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? They made that to where prisoners are legally slaves. You know what I'm saying? So that's the importance of Prop 6 to take that clause out, particularly here in California. Other states have done it. And it's time for Cali to step up as well, you know?
We are long overdue.
Indeed.
Also, tell me, you wrote this verse when?
Man, back in 2006 or something like that.
Now, how you feel about the fact that it's still relevant?
Man, it's actually kind of sad, to be honest. It's like we should see more progress at this point. But, you know what I mean? The struggle continues. It's been going on for 500 years. You know, we still decolonizing. And so it's like, until we get freedom for all of our people, I think this type of content will stay relevant. You know what I mean? But we got to, no one can do everything. Everyone can do something. So let's speak on it.
Free them all.
Free them all.
Right on. That was lit. All those guys in there.
It was.
Didn't they go in? Yeah. So many dope bars. So much rich story and testimony, right?
Right.
Yeah, which one hit you?
Well, I think obviously J Smacka.
Yeah, J Smacka, Work Slave, like that whole chorus that he spit hit me in the heart, and I could hear his passion behind it. I could hear his feeling.
Yeah.
That it just really touched me.
What is your worth, slave?
What's your worth?
You know, like really asking the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Like, what do we think we're worth?
I mean, it's something you and I were just talking about, right? Like when folks come out, they need to know that they are worth more. You know what I'm saying?
We're discussing transferable skills.
That part.
Right?
Yeah. That there's so many skills and so much value in each human being that's inside. When they come out, they need to recognize that. Also Amulet's verse.
Right.
Him talking about essentially that there's always punishment in the system and there's rarely ever a focus on rehabilitation.
Well, I mean, I think it's just sad that people don't realize generally that being torn away from your family and being, hundreds of miles from your family and that economic, weight it puts on a family.
Right. That's punishment.
That's punishment
enough. For the individual and punishment.
Well, that's enough
for the whole community,
for our society too.
Indeed.
Because that's ultimately like what they wanted when they sentenced someone. I don't think they wanted them to be like further traumatized or harmed or raped or any of the things that happen inside. I don't think this was like our society's intention. I hope not.
Yeah.
I'd like to think not.
That people are better than that.
Yeah.
But they need to know that is what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing that people need to remember. There are no safe jobs for women in prison.
That's real. And then Ras talked about the connection between Prop 6 and the 13th Amendment and how, slavery has always been written in the Constitution and it never officially ended.
Right. And what most people don't realize is that it predates our federal constitution. So California is not, only still a slave state. It's the original enforcers of the very general form of racism.
That's a bar right there. I loved everything everybody was saying, and I feel like I want to get on the mic. I can't. I do. I can't let them. I gotta spit a little something. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go in and get mine on.
But mighty, read the writing on papyrus, telling of the days gone by. Dave the tiny slay Goliath, beat the giant when the other men wouldn't try. This is how you flip the frame of mind. Take up courage, shift the paradigm. Remind them, if not you, then who? If not now, to win, there's no one coming to save you. You can't afford to lose, there is no time to wait. Tomorrow need you be a hero. When the future is back, you won't let them ask what where you was at. No be a zero. Change the plans, change the ways. Change the place, change the game. Pay the full, change the pay, changes here. That's the way, that's the way. Mighty. We small, but we mighty. Mighty. Small, but we mighty. Mighty. We small, but we mighty. Tiny, a little bit feisty. We righteous fighters. We come from the bay where we hyphy. We K-E-E-P, the B-A-Y. You see us full up on whoever. We ride for the people.
Most people that go to prison in California will eventually be released back into society. That's why it's crucial for them to get the rehabilitation they need to improve their lives after getting out. But the current prison labor policies make real rehabilitation nearly impossible, which leads to many people reoffending and going back into the prison system, costing billions without solving the problem. The solution is straightforward. Vote yes on Proposition 6 to cut crime and keep our neighborhoods safer.
This has been an amazing Servitude Sessions. I'm so glad that I got to talk to you, that I got to see the artists and all that great stuff. I even got to spit a little bit. That was fun.
Your song.
Oh, girl, thank you. You make me blush. It was fun. But honestly, I just want to thank you, Alyssa Moore. I want to thank Amulet, Smacka, Ras Ceylon, everybody here who has made this whole thing happen. I want to give special thanks to California Lawyers for the Arts, Bay Area Creative Corps, everybody that's been engaged for making this show possible. Listen, the main thing I want you guys to know is to please vote, and then make sure you vote yes on Prop 6. That's the whole reason why we are here today. Y'all, we wrapping up Servitude Sessions number 2. Thank you for rocking with us here at Hip Hop for Change in Oakland, California. I'm Ryan Nicole. Peace.
Police brutalize in the city. Legislation like the prison privatization. Look, we just trying to get guapped up. Akon, bro, I got locked up. Machiavelli, too popped up. Who shot you? You stopped us. Prison industrial complex. Why these cops got